Okay, guys, Dan Bidondi, TruthRadioShow.com. I was giving people a couple minutes to log on. Today's May 15th, going on the 16th of 2018, a day after Israel's 70th anniversary of them becoming a nation again. So I'm going to give a couple minutes here before I start talking. Waiting for my buddy Ron to come on here. Yeah, we're going to talk all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about the mark of the beast. It's being rolled out as a great thing in Europe. All over Europe, they're starting to use this now. Gyms, train stations, right here in America too. They're starting to use this RFID chip to say it's a great thing and everything else. Hey, what's up, Ron? So I was waiting for you to come on. So, hey, what's going on, Tim McGaffin? How's it going, brother? Haven't seen you in a while. But anyway, yeah, I want to talk about the Israeli whole conflict going on too. I want to start off with that. I talked about it last night. I'm looking all over Facebook, okay? People are just bashing the hell out of Israel. Oh, they're just murdering these people, the Hamas and the people in Gaza and all that. But if you guys had a clue what the hell they were doing to Israel, they wanted to open, they had the ceremony of them opening the embassy. And the people from Gaza they're bringing tens of thousands of tires and burning them and in downstream to have the poisonous smoke go toward the embassy. They were throwing rocks, and people say, "Oh, they were getting shot for throwing rocks." No, they were doing a lot more than throwing rocks. Okay, they had huge slingshot type things. They were throwing rocks at people that close up, and they were throwing Maltese cocktail bombs too. They were trying to rush the gates and everything else. So people were like, well, that doesn't call to shoot them. What else you want them to do? When you got, how would you like people to come on your property, start throwing rocks at you, Maltese cocktail bombs, blowing that kind of smoke poisonous gases to you? What else would you do? You know what I mean? And people sitting there bashing them. And I'm not saying Israel's innocent. I'm not at all. Israel is far from innocent. We know that, okay? But what else you want them to do? Sit there and they're only throwing rocks, or just hitting people and causing harm? Oh, so we're not supposed to do nothing about it? If somebody came in my yard, okay, started throwing rocks and all kinds of things like that, Maltese cocktail bombs at my family, you bet your ass I'm going to go get my AR-15 and start blowing these son of a bitches away. Bet your ass on that. And rightfully so, because that's defensive, okay? Because they're posing dangerous threat with dangerous weapons. Maltese cocktail bombs could kill people. Rocks definitely kill people. All through thousands of years of human history, rocks have been used to kill people, murder people. So don't sit there, they're just throwing rocks. You're just trying to downplay it. They were humming huge boulders with all kinds of weapons and everything, like slingshot type things and everything else. So don't sit there and say, they were just throwing rocks, okay? You have no idea what the hell was going on over there. They're just butthurt because Trump actually lived to his promise, okay? You had all these presidents that come along to say, we're going to open the embassy in Israel, in Jerusalem. We're going to declare Jerusalem officially the capital of Israel, and they never did. Trump comes along, lives to his promise, and says, we're going to open the embassy in Israel, and we did. And he said, we're going to declare officially Jerusalem as the capital, and he did. Love it or you don't like it, whatever, it's up to you. Love him or don't love him. That's up to you. That's your right to do so. But he did live to his promises. So with the Hamas, they're all butthurt because they can't stand the fact, okay, that this land, Jerusalem, belongs to the Jews, okay? And again, I'm not saying Israel's all innocent, perfect either, okay? We know the fake Jews, not the real Jews, the fake Jews who run the government, okay, and the elitists, okay? We know they belong to the different kind of bloodline, okay? And we're going to talk about the bloodlines later. And so I'm going to hope to get all this out because I got a couple things to do. I'm waiting for somebody to come by. And if I actually pause for a minute, just stay here. And I just got to do something quick. But anyway, it's ridiculous. It really is. And we know that there is corruption in Israel. We know that, okay? But the real Jews, okay, that belong to the real bloodline, okay, they live in Israel. Israel belongs to them. God says so, okay? Thousands of years ago, Jews that occupied that land. Now, when they were all swept away and everything, these Palestinians overran the place and destroyed it. When they occupied that land, they destroyed it like a bunch of barbarics that they are. Okay, they, just like most of these Islamic people too, they go in, they go into the land, they destroy it, and they want to move on. Okay, and they think they're the victims. They turn it all around as if they're the victims. Okay, that's not the case. Okay, so Israel becomes a nation again. They rightfully take what was theirs back. God promised that. Okay, God said Israel will become a nation again. Now, regardless how it became a nation, there's a lot of controversy behind it. It's still biblical prophecy. Okay, so this land, okay, Jerusalem, belongs to the Jews. Hands down, is not a debate. And the thing is, here's the whole thing about it, what pisses everybody in the whole world off. Because that little piece of real estate, if you look at the state of Massachusetts, Israel's smaller than the state of Massachusetts. The entire country of Israel is smaller than the state of Massachusetts. And that little piece of real estate, the entire world wants that. The entire world wants that. The people who occupy it is the Jews. They want them dead and destroyed. Okay, that holy mount, okay, that is the pinnacle of the entire planet. And the Bible says, God said he will make Israel a cup of trembling to the whole world. To the whole world. And not one hair upon her head will come upon it. Hey, what's going on, Daniel? Hope your training's going good. But, God says he'll make Israel a cup of trembling to the world. And he said Israel would become a nation again, and it did. Okay? So these things are undebatable biblical prophecy that has come true. Okay? And the thing is, the whole point of this, okay, you can hate the Jews or not, okay, they're not going anywhere. Okay? Israel, it belongs to them for now, forever, throughout history. Okay? The Bible declares that. And like I said, this is how assured I am. Because the Bible says that not one hair upon her head will be harmed, in a major way. So every country right now could aim and shoot their nuclear bombs at Israel right now. Not one hair upon her head would be touched. God guarantees that protection for that land. That land's the pinnacle of the entire planet. All these wars out there, everything that's going on out there is all from that focal point. Because people need to understand there's a lot more than a physical war going on. Before these physical wars, okay, it's a spiritual war that's going on, okay? And if you do not understand biblical prophecy, you are not going to understand anything that's going on over there. So you turn on the media, the damn Jews are killing these Hamas, they're murdering them. Or you're the other side, the Hamas are destroying Israel, okay? There's there's more than that, okay? Way more in the spiritual sense, okay? There's a spiritual war going on as well, okay? That relates to a physical war. And, but what Israel did yesterday, rightfully so, what they did, okay? They defended their land. That's all they did. When you got thousands of these Hamas people coming to your border, right there, pushing through the gates, throwing rocks, throwing Maltese cocktail bombs, humming these things with slingshot weapons, big boulders over and hitting people that could kill people, burning tens of thousands of tires downwind so the wind takes the smoke into the area where the embassy is. So they're putting people's lives on the line, but yeah, Israel defends themselves, and God forbid they do that. They're the bad guys for defending themselves. I would shoot their bastards too. If I have my people, my family, my friends, whatever, and my property, and some jerk next door, for some reason thinks it's his property, but regardless of whose property it is, if they're causing violent harm, okay, throwing deadly weapons, a rock is a deadly weapon. It's not little pebbles they were throwing. They were throwing big friggin' boulders that could smash your head, okay? Maltese cocktail bombs, okay? Those are deadly weapons. And yes, Israel's troops had every right in the world to shoot their asses. I would do the same thing. If I was an armed security guard, some jerk-off came to the bank and started throwing those things at me, I would take my gun out and blow his head smooth off his shoulders. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. It wouldn't even be a debate. Oh, he's just throwing rocks out. Oh, but rocks could kill you, and those cocktail bombs could kill you. And I got friends who, this girl Heather there, she's all sensitive over this. Oh, they were just throwing rocks. So no, they were doing a lot more than that. So the Hamas, they got rightfully what they deserved. The Palestinians, they got rightfully what they deserved. And if you look at biblical stories, okay, it was the story of Oxgod. Okay, Oxgod. He was a farmer, okay? He was sick and tired of the crap when the Palestinians back then were oppressing the Jews. They were overrunning the land, being barbaric tyrants, what they normally are. Then they claim to the media, we're the victims. but they love to go into people's land, emphatically destroy it. Then they claim they're the victims, try to move on to somebody else's land and do the same thing. That's how Islam works, okay? And so Oxgog, he got sick of it. He's like, why are we putting up with these people? We're God's people. So he got his weapon there, and he killed over 400 of these Palestinians by himself, okay? And sent thousands of them fleeing for their lives because they were afraid of one man just wiped out 400 of us. You know what I mean? So there's lots of stories all through history about the Palestinians and what they were doing, okay? So Palestinians, they're not victims, okay? Regardless, they bring kids on there for the media purposes to show, oh, look at the kids, they put their own kids in harm's way for political purposes. That's what's going on over there. And the Jews had every right to defend themselves at the embassy, every right. And if you have a country, for example, right, it's your land, you have the right to declare any city in your country the capital. Nobody else in the entire world has any right to say otherwise. So they're all butthurt that because Jerusalem is officially the capital of Israel, once again, as the Bible says. And North Korea backing out of the deal. This is true. I saw headlines. Oh, yeah, I'll get to that in a second. But we're going to close on Israel here. They had every right to do what they did, plain and simple. When you get rocks and cocktail bombs thrown at you, poisonous smoke at you, okay, they had every right to do what they did to defend themselves, and they rightfully did so. I would do the same thing. All right, moving on to North Korea. We heard about North Korea backing out of the nuclear arms peace deal here with Trump, I guess. I don't know if they're butthurt too because Trump opened the embassy up. And again, all this has to do with Israel because all the world hates Israel. Then that's because they can't stand the fact that it's God's holy land. They can't stand the fact. That small little piece of real estate, the entire world can't stand it. It eats them up from inside. Iran and all the Islamic people, everything else, even the Catholic Church, the Vatican. They can't stand the fact that that land is the Holy Land. They can't stand it. And it's a spiritual war, and you got North Korea backing out. They're going to back out probably because you can't trust the Kims, okay? The Kim Jong-un, Ils, Toms, whatever the hell their names are. Okay, you can't trust the family. I think it was more of a political game with the so-called little peace agreement with North and South Korea. What I think he's trying to do is he's trying to get South Korea on his side, play save face, play the good guy, and try to get both Koreas against us. That's what I think is going to go on. And they're going to use Israel as an excuse. So they're backing Israel, so we're not going to support Trump or anything. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what develops in the story here. Could be hearsay, too. It could also be the liberal media twisting things around. That could be a possibility, too, because they can't stand the fact that Trump is making peace throughout the world. And there are people already being calling for Trump to get a Nobel Peace Prize. So, the liberals can't stand that. But it was okay to give morons Nobel Peace Prizes. They gave Obama a Peace Prize. All the guy did was push war. War. He has a Nobel Peace Prize. It's like George Orwell's 1984, War is Peace, Freedom is Slavery. So Obama pushes war, gets a Nobel Peace Prize. You had Al Gore with his entire fraud of global warming, climate change, stealing billions and billions of dollars from all these countries. Some of these countries want him, they want to indict him for fraud. But yeah, they give him a Peace Prize. Then you have Bill Gates openly stating that his vaccines that they donate, openly stating it's for world depopulation purposes, as he said in the 2010 TED Talk. Back in 2010, the TED Talk, he stated that the vaccines are for depopulation purposes. To help with the global warming, to lower the people and the planet and the CO2 emissions and everything else. So you have tyrants, nothing but tyrants have won this Nobel Peace Prize for a while. So a real person, okay, that actually does something peaceful, makes peace with North and South Korea, that's huge. And they want to give him a Nobel Peace Prize. Now the liberal media is butthurt over that. Oh my God, we can't do that. We can't have that. Because we can't have somebody win a Nobel Peace Prize that actually does something peaceful. You know what I mean? So they're going to, I think it might be a lot of BS behind this whole North Korea backing out of this thing. Who knows? I mean, it could be a lot of spin by the mainstream media. They're trying to spin this whole thing out. And we're going to find out exactly as things develop what's going on. And so I want to get to talk about the mark of the beast real quick. You've seen this technology roll out, the RFID. It's radio frequency identification device. RFID is used in a lot of stuff now, and they're embedded in the covers of passports. They're on most of your bank cards now. When I worked at the bank, I was an armed security guard for a while. I don't know how many people a day came to the bank and said, they told me where they could go to see. I was like, why, what's wrong? They're like, well, my card, it's been my wallet, but I don't know how it's been, people get my number and all that. So I pointed out to them, you have a chip on your card. It's an RFID chip. You could go online and buy a scanner for that. I could go zap your card, get your information from 50, 60 feet away, sitting in my car, and you wouldn't even know about it. That's why they have warnings at the airports to have protective sleeves for your passports and your credit cards because of these RFID chips on it. They want to present these things as their God's gift, that they're the savior of humanity. They protect identity theft, bank fraud, and all that stuff when they actually make it worse. And so what they're doing, what they do is actually make it worse. So what they're trying to do is paint this thing, a broad brush at this thing is such a wonderful thing. You don't need a key to get in the door no more. You just simply get this implant that goes in the web of your hand right there. I actually got, I should bring it tomorrow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it in trying to figure what I could get it actually, because I actually got an RFID chip with the syringe. I bought the kit for it because I wanted to actually do a video on this. So I got a real RFID device chip, the program and everything else for it to actually, to demonstrate what they're doing. So they're painting a broad brush on this to make it look good, to say, hey, this is a great thing. This is the best thing of humanity. You don't need a card or key or nothing to get into a gym, to get on the bus, or you just, wave your hand across the reader. And if you go to the hospitals, right, they have these NFC scanners on the computers. All hospitals, though, they have them on, like even Chuck E. Cheese now, they converted all the tickets, all the systems, no more tokens now at Chuck E. Cheese. It's a kid's place. And they got rid of the tokens. Now they're using cards with RFID technology on it. And you go to the register, what they do is they have an NFC reader. It looks like a mouse. They run it over there to read the card and put information and tokens on it and all that stuff, credits for the video games. But the hospital is equipped with these NFC readers. Again, it looks like a mouse. It has NFC on it or another company, whatever. NFC is the primary company that does this stuff. It's RFID readers. And they're equipping everything with this. Stores, supermarkets, hospitals, even kids' places, schools now. And they're trying to introduce this to the population slowly because they want to incrementally push it. And so the RFID, the radio frequency identification device, it's a small, like a little grain of rice, and it goes into your right hand. And the one in your forehead is a flatter one. So it goes between the skull. It doesn't go in your brain, okay? It goes between the skull and the skin on your forehead. And the other one goes into the web of your hand right there. So they want to introduce this to the public, so you don't need keys and nothing to get into nothing. You could actually walk into a store. This is the IBM technology too. They want it so you can walk into a store, load your carriage up, whatever you want. Don't even have to go to a register. All you do is just walk out. And what the machines do is they scan the RFID stuff, because everything has a tag on it, RFID tag. It scans everything in your carriage in seconds, in a split second. Scans it all and takes the credit off your chip, the currency off your chip. So you can walk into a store, load the carriage up, or you just walk out the door. That's it. Bang. Quick bang within a split second. It's calculated and already charged you for everything in your carriage. And if you got scan saver cards, it's already implemented on the chip that you have. So what they're trying to do is the globalists have been planning this for eons, okay? And this RFID technology is nothing new. They've been planning this for decades, and the globalists want everybody fitted with an RFID device in your right hand or in your forehead, as the Bible says. Now notice the newer Bibles, they changed the language in the newer Bibles. I call them these New World Order Bibles. The NIV Bible, if you got one, just burn it. Burn the damn thing, trash it. That's because exactly what it is. It's toilet paper. Use it for toilet paper, actually, because it's a New World Order evil Bible. Anyway, these newer Bibles, they change certain keywords, remove entire verses and everything to say the mark of the beast is on the forehead or on the hand. No, it's not on. It's in the right hand or in the forehead. There's a big difference between on and in, and people who know this stuff know what I'm talking about. So what they want to do is they want to introduce this to society, and you have Sweden, that big company Sweden that's putting them into all their employees now. I think it's 3D, what the hell is that name? 3M, I forget the name of the company in Wisconsin, that they're giving this to their employees. So they could clock in and out and access doors to buildings without having to use the key and everything else. Sounds good. You could buy a lunch and you don't have to pay nothing. It goes out of your credit and everything else. Sounds good. It really does. But it's an evil system. And sure, that thing alone is not the mark of the beast, okay? The mark of the beast is that, but it's not that. If you know, best way to explain this, okay, if you're in Wisconsin or you get this chip, it's not necessarily you're taking the mark of the beast. Now, the mark of the beast is that chip, yes, but it's also spiritual. Because the globalists, they want everybody in the entire world fitted with this chip. Under a world disaster or some sort of whatever, okay? When the UN takes full control, when you have global government throughout the planet, they're going to institute, they want to control everybody. And that's where the FEMA camps come in, and you can laugh at that. They're called internment camps, readiness centers, whatever you want to call them, okay? So they got all these, they got thousands of them here in America, put up by Halliburton, which is a defense contract company, won a huge contract by the Department of Homeland Security to put these camps up. It was Rex 84, HR 645, the Emergency Establishment Center Act. At the time, it was only 6 of them. Now there's over 1,000. There's so many bills and documents that got approved to build these camps. Now, 90+% of these camps, they're open, but there's nobody in them. They're sitting there, ready to go. The lights are still on. Everything's ready. The railroad tracks, they have pretty much port, railroad, and near access. And what they're going to do is basically, under this global government, and it's going to be a massive martial law, civil arrest, they're going to round up the citizens. Now, regular citizens, regular average Joe people, they're going to get on these buses, head to these camps. They're not staying in the camps. What they do is they go into the camps, they record everything about you. Okay, they get all your biometrics and everything else. It's called a processing center. You got to be in and out of there, literally, in and out of there. Okay, if you're just a regular average Joe that doesn't know nothing. Okay, so they have a blue list. That's what that blue list people do. And what you do is you get fitted with the chip. They inoculate the hell out of you with these vaccines. Get all your biometrics information, facial scans, retinas, and everything, the whole 9 yards, fingerprints. Then when they process you, you're released back out into the population. And at the time, during this chaos, they already got the executive orders to nail down the stores, gas stations and everything else to control how much fuel you could buy and food you could buy, just to get the population back in control again. And the yellow list of people, these are where the re-education camps come from. We have the Army documents talking about the re-education camps. Yellow list of people are people who listen to people like me, Alex Jones, and all these other people that warn people about this. So if they suspect you might be influenced by these terrorists, they call people like us terrorists. So what they do is they put these people on the yellow list. They suspect that influenced by people like us, they go on the yellow list. So what they do is they put you in a re-education camp. Hopefully they could, hopefully they could convert you back to normal just to convince you that we're just a bunch of conspiracy theorists. We're terrorists. Don't listen to us. And if you comply with that, they put the chip in you. They do all the 9 yards, and if you don't take the chip, you're not getting out of that camp. Yeah, you're done, plain and simple. And so they're going to scare the hell out of you. And if you don't comply with us, you literally going to be killed, literally. And you don't comply with us, you're not going to see the light of day again. And don't listen to those crackpots like Dan Bidondi and Alex Jones and everybody else. We're here for you. We're here to help you. Here's your chip. Off you go. And but the red list of people like me, like I said, Alex Jones, and all these people who lead people to this resistance and all that, what they're planning on doing, it's right in the documents. We got the documents, Army field manuals and all that. Then this is top level, and I'm talking about not regular military, top level, military industrial complex, Homeland Security top level stuff. Again, if you join the military, even if you're a captain in the military, you don't even know nothing about this stuff. This is for high people that are treasonous son of a bitches. So they already got this whole continuity of government already and ready to go. So the red list of people, we get scooped up literally in the middle of the night. You be in your bed, and before your neighbors even know what the hell's going on, you're already in a van or in a helicopter, and off you go, plain and simple. And you'll never see the light again. There's no re-education camp for you. You're dead, plain and simple. You are gone, plain and simple. And that's what their operations, this is all on documentation, what they're planning to do. And it's scary stuff, it really is. But the thing is, don't be afraid of it, because we know who wins in the end. Again, it goes right back to the spiritual aspect of the spiritual war, because that's what it's about. And the mark of the beast, okay, when you willingly accept this, because at the time, okay, this Antichrist figure, he's going to be a world leader. He's going to be, now people need to understand, we got the European Union. We were going to have the North American Union, but that got put on hold because of the resistance. The Asian Union, the African Union, all that. But we got all these unions, and under the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the Club of Rome, okay? They've already, you could go to the UN's building in New York City. You can see the Club of Rome's plan. They got the world divided, a map, into 10 zones. The entire world, the maps, okay? 10 zones, okay? They went under that global government. There's not going to be no more presidents of countries, nothing like that. They're going to have 10 appointed. Nobody elects these people. They're going to have 10 appointed leaders, one for each zone of the planet. And that's what the Bible says, the 10 kings. And the Bible says the 10 kings are going to give their crown upon one person. They'll be the ruler of the world, basically. And what they're talking about, the Bible's talking about, and what the Club of Rome and the United Nations is doing, these 10... I don't know what their titles are going to be, whatever, but they're going to be the 10 presidents, the 10 rulers of the 10 zones of the entire planet. Just like here in America, we got 10 regions. And we got the 10 councils of governors who oversee those regions. We're going to get into that in a minute. It's crazy stuff. That's all to do with the FEMA stuff. And these people are unelected. They're appointed by, at the time, Obama. So, but anyway, you got the world split up into 10 zones. This is the United Nations, the Club of Rome plan. And they're going to appoint one leader to each zone. And there's no more sovereign rights, no more individual rights. Countries with constitutions, gone. Plain and simple, there's no more constitutions. So you're under this globalist plan, this globalist treaty, and what they call world peace. You're forced into a one-world religion that the Pope right now is setting up hundreds of religions under this banner to say we all serve the same God. No, we don't serve the same God. I don't serve Allah. Allah means moon god, okay? It's not God, it means God of the moon. I don't serve a God of the moon. I serve the God of everything, Yahweh. But Buddhists, Hindus, all these people, the temple set, they say, we all serve the same God. This is a world peace that they preach. And even as people like from the 700 Club and these mainstream Christians now of all conforming to this. That's why they're going after real Christians and real Jews, not the fake ones. They're trying to outlaw the Bible. They're trying to outlaw anything to do with the testimony of Jesus Christ. So, and it's going on all over the world, not just here in America. You got documents from Homeland Security, Operation Endgame, FBI's Project Megiddo, openly, declaring Christians, gun owners, and constitutionalists as terrorists that are worse than Al Qaeda. Returning veterans are also as terrorists, and this is from our government here. And now things have changed a little bit because Trump getting in, whatever. But that remains to be seen because there's so much stuff going on that he doesn't even know half the stuff. I mean, so much. And but on this 10 global plan, at the time, there's going to be one leader for each zone of the planet, 10 of them. And when this person comes up to power, he's the Antichrist. He's going to come to power at the third temple. Now, it goes back to Israel once again. That's why the world wants Israel. But the third temple will be rebuilt. They've already got it fabricated. They got the walls fabricated, the ceilings, everything built, ready to go for the third temple in Israel. And they can literally have the third temple up within a matter of 2-3 months, they said. Literally. Yeah, and boom, everything's already fabricated, and they get the rabbis trained and everything else ready to go. So what they're going to do is the third temple will be rebuilt. That's why Israel had to become a nation again. Like it or not, it had to become a nation again. That's why Jerusalem had to be declared the capital of Israel. It had to. This is prophecy on both sides of the fence. The Illuminati side and the Bible side, which is the same thing, but different versions. They believe a little bit different. The Illuminati know the Bible is 99% true, but they believe that 0.01% that The Antichrist is going to defeat God. That's the only part they do not believe in the Bible, and they will never tell the lower levels that. Anyway, I hope people keep it up with this. I know it's complicated, but the third temple being built in Israel, okay, at this time, when you have the 10 zones in the planet, there would be a very inspirational political leader there. The Pope at the time, which I believe is Pope Francis, he's the Antichrist's false prophet. He's not the Antichrist. He's the false prophet of the Antichrist. He's going to tell the entire world that this man here, this political leader, is God. And this guy will be dead. He'll be assassinated in front of the whole world and rise to dead. The dragon will give him power, resurrect him. The whole world's going to see this stuff. So at this time, he's going to be declared the world chancellor, whatever the title they give him. Grand Sovereign General, whatever the hell, I don't know. Whatever the title the UN and the Club of Rome give him, okay, all 10 zones, all 10 leaders are going to give that power upon him to make him the entire sole world chancellor of the world. And at the time, he's going to have power to make fire come from the sky, everything as the Bible said. Now, we'll get to the Antichrist for a minute, okay? People think the Antichrist, Satan, has these magical powers to hold. No, this ain't nothing magic at all. This is all technology. Okay, the technology boom and everything else isn't from the minds of human beings. It's from the fallen angels, what people think of aliens and UFOs. Now you get into Revelations, I think it was 10, that talks about 3 unclean spirits that look like frogs, reptilians, that are going to be presented to the entire world. They're going to mislead the whole world to bring on a great deception. And the false prophet is going to reveal them. The Pope is going to reveal 3 aliens, what you think they are, to be our creators and everything else, and they're going to mislead the entire world when they're actually fallen angels. And this is going to start a whole thing. They're going to anoint this one man that is a seed of them, and it goes back to the bloodlines, and that's a whole story. I'm going to try to get into this. But the seed of the serpent is through all these generations from the Garden of Eden all the way to now, that's going to bring forth this Antichrist figure. And he's going to be literally possessed by Satan himself to be the Antichrist on the planet. And so when he takes his throne, it's going to be right in the third temple in Israel. That he's going to take his throne. And the reason why the third temple in Israel, because it's a purposely spite to literally spit in the face of God. Because that's God's holy land for the Jews. So he's using that. That's why it had to become, Israel had to become a nation again. That third temple has to be rebuilt, and it will be rebuilt. And in Jerusalem. So when that third temple is built, this Antichrist figure will come out of there. That's where he takes his power into the entire world. The Pope will be there to anoint him as God, as a world chancellor. And again, the Club of Rome, the United Nations behind this, the International Monetary Fund, the Council on Foreign Relations. It's not a coincidence, the CFR. If you ever look at that logo, it's a white man on a horse, the pale man on a horse. Okay, that's the Antichrist. And the Trilateral Commission, they use it looks like a recycling logo. Okay, that's the angel in the whirlwind, and that's a whole that's their version of Enoch. Okay, there was 2 Enochs. Okay, but that's their version of Enoch, and so it's all biblical, every little thing. And if you think, here's the really thing too. A lot of people think these real leaders and these people that came along through the ages were atheists. No, none of these people are atheists. Okay, regardless what you believe, and I hate to put it this way, and I don't mean no disrespect to anybody. I don't care what religion you are, whatever, but what you believe is irrelevant. I mean that with all respect, because these global elite people, they believe in Lucifer as God. They worship Lucifer. They'll lie to the lower levels, people who serve under them, that none of these people will exist, or they'll downplay it because they want you dead too. They want a perfect new world order, and they don't want to share it with nobody, even the people that serve them. And so they will get the new world order. They will get that perfect utopia, and for 3.5 years at that, and that's what we call the tribulation, where they will have power to go detain and kill believers on the streets. And they will force them to take the mark of the beast. And this is all Matthew and all through the Bible. And have this pre-tribulation rapture crap out there being taught that, the thing is the tribulation, the point of a tribulation is the trial against the saints. And I want to clear something up too, is no 7-year tribulation. That's not what the Bible says, okay? It's a 3.5-year tribulation. And the other 3.5 years, it's a 7-year total of what's going to go on. But the tribulation itself is only 3.5 years. The second half is the bowl judgments and the wrath of God and the trumpet judgments that will be rained upon the earth of the people that are left here. Okay, so basically these people know this is going to happen. Okay, the world's elite know this is going to happen. It's going to boil down to this. And this is what it's all about. And if you sit there and it's like, just making stuff up. If I can make the stuff up, I should be in Hollywood making more money than I am now. I should be writing movies, and people like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, they couldn't even make something like this up. All them guys combined, okay? So this is not made up stuff. This is real life stuff that's going on right now, correlating with the Bible, 110% dead on accurate. It's 110%. No other religion or cult, anything in the world can say the same thing with that doctrine. Not one. And so this is all going on right here, right now, to bring forth the Antichrist, a global government, what we call a New World Order, that what every president just about, except for Trump so far, that's proclaimed we need a New World Order. All these world religious leaders, these world political leaders have all announced that they need a New World Order. The popes have. The New World Order, and what they present is peace, world peace. That's why you see at Super Bowl halftime shows, all these games and Olympics and all that. They preach world peace, and there's nothing peaceful about that world peace. Nothing at all. You're stripped of all your sovereign individual rights. Each state, each country loses its sovereignty because you're under a global system now, one world government, one world currency, one world identifications with the RFID chips, one world religion. It's nothing peaceful at all. And if you caught basically saying that Jesus is the only way to heaven, you're dead, plain and simple. And that's what they're trying to outlaw. California is literally attacking the Bible right now because they want to pay tribute, whatever, save face to the Muslims and all that, because, California, they want to be these liberal, trendy, political correctness people that, no, you can't offend nobody else, but you little bastard, you brought that Bible to school, you should be suspended. We're going to send CPS to your home and make sure they interrogate your mother and your father too because you brought a Bible to school. How dare you? Oh my God, you brought an NRA shirt to school. You should be shot, you little bastard. Okay, this is what they're doing all over the country. And because you got these far-left libtards who pose as teachers over there at the chalkboard shooting a picture of Donald Trump, doing all this stuff to these kids. And these kids go to shooting ranges with their right, you can, if you're 16 years old, you can go to a shooting range, especially with your parents. And nothing wrong with that. Everybody should do that for gun safety, but no, they're attacking them, sending CPS to the houses and everything else, making people's lives miserable hell because they believe in gun rights. And all this stuff is all tied together. And what they're trying to do is lymphatically destroy God, guns, and the Constitution in this country. That's the number one goal. The globalists have already admitted right now, they got their world government set up. They got their whole perfect IMF system set up with the mark of the beast. Everything's ready to go. Everything. And they got the entire framework. Everything's ready at the drop of a dime. They can lay the hammer down. We got everything we need to push a global government. One thing stops that, okay? And that's the people of the United States of America. That consists of 3 items: God, guns, and the Constitution. They know if they could get rid of the Constitution, your gun rights, that you can't defend yourself, and what got out of the country, that's it. This country's done. The Republic of the United States of America will no longer be a republic. It'll turn into a dictatorship overnight. And I'm not talking about weeks and months. No, literally overnight, it'll turn into a dictatorship. And the UN's already admitted that our Second Amendment is the biggest roadblock right now from the world government. Because they know we got on record about 90 to 100 million people with firearms. That's on record. It's well more than that. People who own guns are not on record. So they know they got to take guns from 100 million American people, which is nearly impossible. Nearly. It really is. And there's just in the month of March alone this year, they sold over 200 million guns in 1 month. How the hell are you going to take those many guns where there's billions, literally billions, not millions, billions of guns on the streets here in America? How are you going to take all that? Well, that's their goal. They want to do this, and they want to take all the guns away. This way, who's going to stop the United Nations troops? They got UN troops here in America right now. Foreign troops, NATO troops, United Nations troops here in America, training every year with the national level exercises with Homeland Security. And their training is urban warfare, going door to door for gun confiscation. Okay, and to push this, they're going to stage a nuclear attack here in America. There's going to be nuclear bombs here in America. It's not a question if, it's a question when. I get these, the other night I had this nightmare, oh my God, I can't even describe to you. It rattled my whole day. I couldn't do nothing. The details that I see in my dream, I get these dreams a lot too. And the other day, I still remember it in my head. It's crazy, the details. Somebody said, what the hell's going, something's going on outside. So I go outside and I look up in the sky, like a couple streets over, you see the ground just opening up and a missile shoots out. You look up in the sky where the field is, and all of a sudden there's missiles flying everywhere. Like you see them in distances and all that, going straight up. Then you see, toward the city, a big flash, and all of a sudden you see the bunch of dust come at you because it's in the far distance. One of the cities in the nearby area got nuked, and all the dust come flying at us. And we took cover and everything else. But after that, you had military, UN troops going through the street, military vehicles, tanks and everything else going through the streets. Not to help nobody. It was people hurt, everything else. No, they weren't there to help people. They were going to registered gun owners' houses. This is my dreams here. People who registered their firearms. And they were confiscating weapons. Meanwhile, you had criminals and looters running around home to home, busting people's doors and to take their food or whatever they had, hurting people and everything else. And in my dreams, I had my weapons, and I literally was shooting people in my dreams, looters that were coming in to do harm to me and my family and our neighbors. And we were shooting people to fend them off, and you could literally see the details of the bullet going through the guy's skull. Full bloody details of the stuff. And it was like the most horrible nightmare you could ever possibly think of. And you could smell things, you could feel, it was hell on earth, folks. And they were going through the streets late at night, telling people to report to the internment centers with loudspeakers and everything else, for their safety, to report, to turn their firearms in, cell phones, everything else, report to these internment centers. They have buses at checkpoints, and it was hell. It really was. This is the stuff that's going to go on, folks. And this is going to get very ugly, especially during this tribulation period. And the tribulation is against the saints, against believers, and we're going to go through some hell. And Jesus says that, but it'll be the final test of our love for him. And after this tribulation period, and the thing is, if you get caught, the Bible says, you literally wait patiently for your death. If you get caught by these people, you go into captivity, be led into captivity, and wait patiently for your death. Because rather for them to kill you then, than take that mark and you're doomed for eternity. And I hope to God I'm alive through all this stuff so I can actually see Jesus coming to the earth. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And but it's going to get ugly. It really is. I'm not snowballing nothing. I'm not blowing smoke up anybody's butt. This is going to get ugly. And this is the stuff that's being laid out now, folks. And you need to get right with God and be strong spiritually and physically as well. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, folks, and we need to be ready for it. We really do. And we need to be strong with each other, for each other, and support your friends, families, and neighbors. Even if they don't believe what you believe, okay, you need to be there for everybody. Everybody needs to work together. You need to talk to your friends, families, and neighbors. Come up with some contingency plans that if a natural disaster or some kind of nuclear strike does happen, what are you going to do? That's if you don't get caught in a blast and you're dead anyway. But what are you going to do? You know what I mean? In this doomsday zombie apocalypse type scenario. You need to come up with some continuity of plan with your close neighbors and family and all that. Say, hey, right, we got whoever's got the land, we can make a farm. Put everybody to work and to do something just to survive this, because it's going to be hell. It really is. And if you can make it through the 3.5 years, then you got to see the return of Christ. That's when the rapture happens. They're caught up in the sky there. And then after that, it's 3.5 years of the bowl and trumpet judgments upon the inhabitants of the earth that worship the beast, the Antichrist. And these people are going to suffer and suffer bad. And thank God we're not going to be here for that, but we will be here for all the tribulation, which is 3.5 years. And but the bloodlines I wanted to talk about quick before I go. I know it's been a while I'm talking here. The bloodlines, you really need to understand what the bloodlines are. Bloodlines are very important, especially if you want to know anything about the Illuminati, anything. Before you even begin, you need to understand what the bloodlines are. That's what a lot of people fail to understand. They start indulging into learning about secret societies, the Illuminati and everything else, but they don't get into the core of it, okay, the bloodlines, okay? It's all biblical. That's why all secret societies, occults, and everything else, the high levels of the cult anyway, they all revert back to the Bible. They use the Bible for their purposes because it's all to do with the bloodlines. Back in the Garden of Eden, when God confronted Adam, Eve, and the serpent, which is Lucifer, he stated right out through Lucifer's seed, you got to bruise the heel of Adam's seed. Adam's seed is going to crush the head of your seed. And that's right in Genesis. And if you read the book of Joshua, Jubilees, books of Adam and Eve, the books of Enoch, okay, this all confirms and goes and correlates with this whole thing here. And it fills in what, people say there's gaps in whatever in Genesis. No, Genesis lays down the focal points, the bullet points. The other books fill in along. That's why the Catholic Church took those books out of the Bible, because they don't want you to know this stuff, okay? And so the bloodline starts with the seed of Lucifer. And how does the seed of Lucifer, you ask, how does it start? Well, Cain is not Adam's son. Cain was the son of the serpent, because the Bible, even today's Bible says, the serpent begot Eve after he deceived her. In other words, he implanted a seed in her. She bore Cain, and then when Adam, God said about that you'd have to produce babies and all that, Adam later had a child known as Abel, with Eve. And so that's how the bloodline started. And that's why all through the Bible you hear it refers to the Canaanites, the sons of Adam and the sons of Cain. They always talked about two different races. Then you had in Genesis 6, which is all the Enoch and all that, even ancient cultures talk about this too. But they believed that they were gods, or some believed that they were aliens, UFOs. But when the fallen angels were having sex with the woman on the earth, creating that offspring as demigods, or all these weird mythological creatures that weren't mythological at all. They were real. Greek mythology is nothing mythology about that. It's real stuff. To the point they weren't gods, or they weren't aliens. They were the sons of God, literally. The angels had sex with the woman on the earth and produced an offspring called the Nephilim, or the Raphaim, and they were men of renown, giants, really big giants, and the other ones were like superhuman abilities. That's where Zeus, Apollo, and all these things come from, because it all comes from that. And this is all from every ancient culture and everything else, and this is what evolutionists don't want anybody to hear. People who at the top, I'm not telling regular people at the top don't want people to know this stuff. That's why the bones they find all the time, people all over the Middle East, people all over Africa, those countries, they see the stuff with their own eyes. Giant bones and all that. They recover them all the time with dinosaur bones. But they'll never, Australia, the UK, and the United States, never one word of that will peep here in America. Scientists, paleontologists who discover this stuff, they get blackballed from the university if they don't keep their mouth shut. It was L.A. Marzulli, check him out, he's been on the History Channel too. He was a famous paleontologist. He kept coming across these giant bones. They're like, keep your mouth shut, or you're going to be exiled from the university. And when he came across them again, he's like, you can't keep your mouth shut when you're seeing this stuff. When we're telling our kids in society that dinosaurs lived before man, when we got proof that man lived with the dinosaurs. And everything the schools and museums are teaching is all bull. And so they exile people like him away from the community, blackball them. And when people all over Africa, the Middle East and all that, some Asian countries, they know this is all true. And meanwhile, we're laughing, ha, 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 like we're the most educated countries in the world. Ha, 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 ha. Look at me, I got my diploma. Look at me. I got my Harvard or Stanford law degree, or my degree in eschatology or history, whatever, that makes me an expert when you're actually a complete moron. And I'm not saying you're dumb for doing that, no. But I'm saying that means you're just more indoctrinated than the average person. So the piece of paper from university doesn't mean jack when you preaching garbage and bull crap to people. So I mean, I run into these people all the time at the State House, especially with the gun rates. People with law degrees try to interpret the Constitution in that way when, when you read it in its context, there's no new need for interpretation. But anyway, so the bloodlines, they're very significant, and the bloodlines survived, because like during the flood, because the angels, they were having sex with the woman on the earth here, and they were corrupting the bloodlines of everybody, okay? And Noah, his family, he wasn't perfect from sin. He sinned, but he loved God, you know what I mean? Him and his family. But their genome, their DNA were perfect the way God made them. And so God needed to preserve the bloodline of Adam because Satan's first attempt with the fallen angels, they wanted to corrupt that bloodline so Jesus would never be born. Mary coming in the future, they wanted to corrupt that so Jesus would never be born, so they could never have a pure, because Mary, she was the pure bloodline, okay? She was perfect blood. I mean, she was, how do you say this, okay? She was like a blessed woman, she was. And she wasn't holy. No, nobody's holy but God himself. But she was a blessed woman, virgin, and she had the pure DNA bloodline, and the virgin she was, of that where God wanted somebody to host his seed. And he chose her because she was the most faithful person at the time. And her bloodline was clean. But anyway, back before the flood, they were having sex and completely distorting the bloodline and DNA and genome of human beings. And people think this green technology today, the singular technology, all the stuff, genetic mutation, all that. So no, nothing like that is new. They were doing that back then, way back then. What was it? Oh, it's the airplane. But anyway, they were doing all that stuff way back then. There's nothing new about that, okay? And they wanted to destroy humanity. And most of the people on this planet literally were things like you see in the movie 300, half man, half bull, or whatever the hell is weird, things like that. They were real, okay? They were on this planet. Every ancient culture in the world talks about them, shows about them in the pictorial things, the hieroglyphics and everything else. They talk about the Great Flood. They talk about the giants, okay? So every ancient culture in the world confirms all this. And again, some of them think they were aliens from outer space. And the North American Indians, they had, when they were like this, how? It wasn't saying hi to people. No, that's just a Hollywood thing. They did this when they come across a stranger. So a stranger would be like thinking of saying hi or something. So when they held their hand up, they would actually count their fingers and toes. Because the Nephilim, they had 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each hand. Anybody seen the movie 11-11-11? It was basically about the birth of the Antichrist. Now in the movie, you've seen claw marks from demonic entities on the walls and all that, and there's always 6 of them. And anything to do with, if you notice that the number 6, okay, it's very significant in the occult, 13 and everything else, but 6, okay, again, these offsprings had 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot. And, again, it's to differ from what God wants. So anyway, before the flood, they were corrupting all the bloodlines. I mean, the bloodlines of Adam, there was very few people left, and Noah and his family were the very few left that had a perfect DNA from Adam. And so Satan tried to destroy that, so Jesus could never be born because there was nobody pure enough to host God's seed to be born. So God flooded the earth, and even before and after the flood, he sent certain people out to kill off these Nephilim. And people say, well, why would God send people, prophets, to go kill off villages of innocent women and children? No, these were not innocent women and children at all. These were offsprings of pure demonic creatures, okay? And if you knew or seen what these things were like, you would definitely kill them yourself. Because, you know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand why these things were done, and that is exactly why, to get rid of this bloodline. But God did say before those days and after those days, there were Nephilim. Now, granted, today it wasn't anything like it was back then, but it's starting to get like that now. The bloodline did survive the flood, and they believe Tubal Cain, which is the ancestor of Cain, it means another Cain. He survived the flood. They believe the occultists believe, the Illuminati do, and but we know Nephilim did survive the flood because the Bible confirms that, to preserve that Antichrist bloodline. Now Noah and his family repopulated the earth, created everybody's bloodline back to the population back to the bloodline of Adam. So we know there's another bloodline too, because why do you think the elitists in the world, the royal families and all that, they marry within their own families for a purpose? Because they need to keep that bloodline pure to bring forth the Antichrist. And nowadays, the bloodlines really don't matter because the Savior was already born through Mary. And when the Savior was born, Satan knew he failed. So next thing you want to do is just destroy humanity altogether. So even to this day, they're corrupting our bloodlines. And this is why people are born gay. And I'm not trashing gay people. I love everybody equally. This is why people are born gay. And I used to think back then, there's no way possible somebody could be born gay. But when you look into it, they do the genetic engineering, the chemical engineering, chemical poisoning of people, the DNA altering people born dicking their dogs or whatever the hell. And I'm not picking on gay people or nothing at all. And but do the genetic alteration of, what these Luciferians are doing, they can make a person born any way the hell they want. And they are purposely destroying the bloodline. And again, Jesus says, before he ascended to heaven, he said, when the disciples asked him, when will you come back? He laid out all the prophecies about Israel becoming a nation again, this, that, and the other thing. Then he stated, as the days of Noah, so shall it be when I return. And we are now living in the days of Noah. Now they got the technology to genetically morph, clone animals with the grin technology. If anybody's seen the movie Splice, you know what I'm talking about. That's real stuff. Back in the UK, I think it was 2010, there was an article released that, I think it was UK Daily Mail, I'm not sure, but how they were using this grin and singular technology to create these splices. Half animals, half humans, half plants, whatever the hell. And they were growing these feces, feces, that's exactly what they are. But anyway, they were growing these baby fetuses in the lab. And that was back then, and nothing's ever talked about after that, hundreds of them. So you can only imagine what's on this earth now. And that's why you're starting to hear stories of more stranger things, people seeing these weird creatures everywhere. Things are just getting weirder and weirder as we go along. And again, as the days of Noah, so shall it be before the return of the Son of Man. So we're seeing all this stuff happening right now, and it's all significant, all of it. And the bloodlines are very important. That's why the royal families and elite marry within their own family. They marry the cousins and the second cousins and all that. In some cases, brothers, whatever. They do a lot of rednecking, I tell you that. But anyway, they keep that bloodline pure because somewhere not long in that bloodline, the Antichrist, the seed of the serpent, rises. And we believe, or we really feel that he's already here now. He's already been born. He's ready to take his throne. The way all the prophecies are being laid out, the star prophecies as well, everything the biblical, the Bible tells us, and even on the Illuminati side, because I got friends who are in the Illuminati, and we're seeing all this stuff coming to power rapidly now. And as the Bible says about prophecy, it says it's like birth pains. When a woman gets pregnant, she has a contraction, something, in other words, in the world, something major happens, then you don't hear nothing for months. Then all of a sudden, boom, happens again. Then all of a sudden, it starts to become more frequent, more and more frequent, close and close together, longer this time, stronger, and all of a sudden, boom, like it's every second. Now what we're looking at in the world, every day now, almost every day, you turn on the news, not knowing what the hell happened. And some kind of a stage mass shooting or some kind of so-called terrorist attack half the time, or a disaster or some kind of earthquake, a tornado, killed 150 people, but it's just small news in the newspaper now because it's common now. People are desensitized. Back when, remember as a kid, when there was an earthquake somewhere, it killed about 80 people. And it was big news. We talked about it in school for weeks. And at the time of Columbine, the school shooting, that was talked about for years in the schools. It was like, wow, and all of a sudden after 9/11, it just rattled everybody's cage, and things got shorter and shorter, more and more common. Now, earthquake takes place or tsunami killing hundreds, if not thousands of people. It's talked about, but people are like, oh, literally, oh, wow, I feel bad for them. But they're not rattled no more because they have been desensitizing people to accept all this. And the same thing with the alien stuff, with the movies and everything else, conditioning people that there are creators, or like the movie The Knowing and everything else, and ancient aliens and all that, conditioning people and desensitizing people to this stuff. So when these things do appear, they're going to think they're aliens and from outer space, that there are creators and everything else, not knowing what they really are. Fallen angels and their offspring and all that. And so they're going to be so today, again, God forbid a school shooting happens today. Like Parkland, right? Parkland school shooting was the last one, I believe. Whatever, I can't keep up anymore, and it's already like whatever. You know what I mean? It's that's how society is. I'm not saying that's how I feel. No, I feel bad, but people are desensitized to stuff now, and that's where they want you to be. So when this massive global change takes place, people are already going to accept it. You know what I mean? Same, with this mark of the beast and everything else there. And they know they can't just slam it on people. So what they do is implement little increments at a time. As you become fully conditioned, fully brainwashed, fully under mind control to understand, to worship this beast that's coming. And so I'm going to end it here because I think I've been on here for an hour. So thanks, Ron, for sticking around, man. Hope you're still awake. I don't even know how long I've been on. I don't know if anybody could check here. Just checking here how long I've been. I don't know. But anyway, guys, I'm going to cut this short here. I'm going to post this up on YouTube, too. That's cool. I love this stuff, and I love using the enemy's weapon against them. They had the CIA and the NSA and all these people who helped design things like Facebook here and everything else to spy on us, to get our biometrics and everything else, which they do. They got all our biometrics and all that, and I don't hide it no more. I don't care. I don't care if they listen to me no more. I don't care if they watch me, because it doesn't bother me no more, because they already know what I'm about. So I know I'm on that red list, so it doesn't bother me no more. And people watching too, don't be afraid of this stuff. Don't be afraid of these people, because there's many verses in the Bible that give you faith of a mustard seed and the courage of a lion. And people who say, how could you go to these press conferences, confront these people and all that? Why do you have all this courage? Okay, it's because easily. God says, if I am with you, who could be against you? That verse alone. If God is with you, who the hell could be against you? Who? Like in WWE, who? I love that. I watch a lot of wrestling. I'm a wrestler myself. But if God is with you, who could be against you? Nobody. And he says, behold, I'll give you power to tread over scorpions and serpents, and no harm will come upon you. In other words, evil. Okay? And that's awesome. And so many verses, and no weapon formed against me shall prosper. In other words, if God's got a plan for you, a mission, okay, there's nothing anybody in the entire world can do about it. If God says, all right, I want you to walk across that street and help that person, you could have an entire country's armies on each side of the street, shooting every damn weapon they got at you, and not one single bullet will touch you. Not one. That's how powerful God is. And when he has missions and plans for people, though Satan and his fallen ones and all this, they try all the time to deter that, to stop that. Okay, but when God has a purpose for you, there's nothing or nobody can stop it. That's why I have the courage I do. What's the worst they could possibly do to me? When you really think about it. Well, if I go speak up, I might get into this or that. Think about this, okay? What's the worst they could possibly do to you? Is kill you, right? They'll be doing you a favor. You know what I mean? Like you received the martyr's crown. That's the most prestigious crown in the kingdom of heaven. And Jesus says, what greater love is for a brother to die for you. You know what I mean? And he died for us. You know what I mean? So to die for him, okay, if you're doing God's work and you do die, you got to receive one of the glorious crowns in the kingdom of heaven. So that's why I don't give a crap what I do. That's why I do not care what these intelligence agencies do. And they know that too. They know there's nothing they can do about it. And the thing is, those people at the top, they can see the good in people. And I can see the evil in those people. I confront these people a lot. I talk to these people come up to me out of nowhere. Black-eyed people. And to everybody else, that person has blue eyes or hazel eyes. I can see pure black. See my eyes here? Is the white around there? I don't see that. I see pure black, blacker than the blackest black you could possibly understand. And I see that in these people. They come up to me and they look like they want to literally bite my head off. And they know they can't do that. And that's spiritual warfare. When you see things as God sees them on a spiritual level, that's why I said in the beginning of this video here, there's more than just the physical violence going on. There's a spiritual war going on before all this stuff happened, and it's going to be after the stuff happens too. There's a spiritual war going on. And when people who walk with God, and I'm not perfect at all, I'm not, never will be perfect. I swear, I shouldn't be swearing, and I apologize about that. When I see a good-looking girl walking down the street, I'm not a prude. I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? But I shouldn't be doing that, you know what I mean? And but we're not perfect. You know what I'm trying to say. And I'm far from perfect. Never will be perfect until in God's kingdom. And the only person is perfect is Jesus Christ. So what I'm trying to say is, people who walk with God, to say that because I'm not claiming to be a holy person or a prophet or nothing like that. I do my best to try to walk with God. I do my best to understand this stuff. And most of the time I can see the spiritual wall. I can see the spiritual level, okay? I can see these people come up to me. I have dreams and visions and encounters all the time of these things happening. And anything from nuclear bombs to demons visiting me, certain fallen angels or whatever, different things that happen to me in my life, either in real life or in a dream or whatever, to give me messages and all that. Or just, and the things, the evil ones, they can't stand you. They'll come up to you and talk to you. But you could literally see the demon just want to just rip you apart to pieces, but they can't because you got a covenant over you, a beautiful golden light over you, and they cannot penetrate that. And that pisses them off so bad that they can't do that. So they do other things around you to try to distort you or whatever else. And it really, really, like when I was in Boston confronting those top FBI officials and Secret Service and all that, you could see the demons of those people. Woo, I tell you. And it wasn't a pretty sight. Especially the guy, Obama's Secret Service guy. He was one of his top agents. He was known as the shapeshifter. Anybody types that in Google, looking Obama Secret Service shapeshifter. It's a bald guy. You can see him shapeshift, whatever. And I don't know if that's from the camera angle. I'm not saying he's a shapeshifter, but that guy right there, he was in my face, okay, and you could see the demonic activity in this guy's face. You could see literally this demonic presence in this guy. Literally see it through his eyes and everything else. And he's like, the look that he was giving me, okay, it would make anybody piss their pants and have nightmares. But when I was there, I was like just on fire for God. I really was. And you could feel the Holy Spirit within me. They could see that, and that's what ticked them off the most. Because there was no fear. It's just like, bring it on. That's how my attitude was when I do that stuff. Bring it on. Let's go. What's the worst thing you could possibly do to me? Is kill me? You do me a favor, plain and simple. So that's the attitude we all need to have. Brave Christian warriors, Judeo-Christian warriors that are not afraid to die for God. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not perfect, never will be. And I'm not saying I'm a saint or a prophet or anything like that. But I do love God, and at the end of the night, I confess to Jesus the bad things I did. And but we all need to walk with God. So anyway, guys, hey Daniel, what's going on, man? Hey, do you know how long I've been on? I'm trying to get the time here. My throat's getting dry, but I'm gonna post this up on YouTube too. But guys, I'm going to cut out of here, and as things develop too, I'm going to be on at least 3-4 nights a week here, talking about different things, because things are heating up, things are happening rapidly, and we need to talk about them. We need to spread information about them too. But anyway, guys, have a good night, man. God bless, and again, everybody knows my website, truthradioshow.com, at Twitter, at Dan Bidondi, and all that good stuff. Anyway, God bless, guys. Take care.